Good morning, Blake.
Good morning. How you doing?
Great, man. Great to have you. Enjoyed reliving that memory there with Eli Gold. Let's talk about what Blake Sims is doing now. I know you finished up the season with the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the CFL, but as happens in professional football, they get a new coach and general manager, and he comes in and releases a bunch of players, including yourself. What's your plan now? I know you still want to play football somewhere.
Yes, sir. Right now I'm just going back to the basics, working out every day, keeping my head up high, and just waiting for a phone call. My agent told me some things, and I'm just waiting to see if it's going to happen and, just staying positive.
I have no doubt that it will. You've got a lot to bring to the table. As I mentioned, a record last year, passing yards, 3,487 for Alabama, 28 touchdown passes. Of course, you were able to run the football as well. And I want to go back, and we're going to talk about this year's team as well, but I want to go back to last year. We've talked about it a lot, but you hung in here when a lot of other guys might have decided to move on. You had played different positions, everything from running back to safety, special teams. Then you get moved to quarterback. You're back up to A.J. McCarron. And then going into the spring of 2014, most people just assumed that Jake Coker, the Florida State transfer, would win that job. It didn't happen. You go into fall camp. Still no announcement on a starting quarterback. And then against West Virginia, it's Blake Sims, and you took advantage of your opportunity and had a great season. During that time when you were fighting to find your place on that football team, did you ever consider going somewhere else, Blake, or were you just totally committed to Alabama?
I was totally committed to Alabama. A lot of people don't understand that, Alabama, I feel like Alabama was behind Blake before Blake was behind Alabama.
Wow.
Coming out of high school, I had a learning disability, but at the same time, my grades wasn't great, as probably as many student athletes out in this world. And Alabama stood behind me and told me they were going to be behind me. They just told me to do my job, and they'll get me into school. So after that, I felt like I couldn't turn my back on them.
You win the job. You have a good game against West Virginia, but there's still questions. You've got a first-year offensive coordinator in Lane Kiffin, a first-year starting quarterback in Blake Sims. A little different look at running back with Henry and Yeldon working together. When did you get the feeling, Blake, that offense last season could be special? Did you know it all along, or was there a point in the season when you said, whoa, I've got Amari Cooper, I got Derrick Henry, I got T.J. Yeldon, I got Kristen Jones, I got DeAndre White, O.J. Howard. I think we can do something special here.
I noticed it during the summer when camps was going on, and, we was preparing for the season. We were preparing for camp. We just got done with spring ball. I knew it because we was taking the time out when the cameras wasn't on us or we didn't have the attention. We was putting the work in. We had me and Amari was sitting there throwing like 20 routes today, even DeAndre White and Chris Jones. And Derrick Henry and T.J. Yeldon, they was doing swings and we was handing the ball off so it could be to the point where I can close my eyes and we'll still have the same next point.
You know what's interesting for the last 2 years is there's been one bugaboo during the regular season, and it's been Ole Miss. They got you guys last year as well up there in Oxford. And much like this season, after that loss, you didn't lose again in the regular season. When you've got a championship caliber team like Alabama has every year, and your goal is to win a championship, and you have a setback like that, what was the mentality last year after you went to Oxford and you lost the game and they tore down the goalpost? And I know much like the game this year, you guys made enough mistakes in that game that it was easy to say, well, if we don't do this, we win the game. But how did you rally after that loss and put it behind you?
I think our main thing was to take that moment and take in that feeling so we'll never feel that again. And just put the past in the past and just worry about the future. And whoever we played next, I can't remember who it was, but, we just tried to go out that game and try to put out a statement for the world. So they understand that we're still the best team out there. And when we lost to Ole Miss, we had to prove ourselves again. And I think that's the one thing that we love to do the best.
We're visiting with Blake Sims, starting quarterback for the Crimson Tide in 2014. Played this season with the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the Canadian Football League and still planning on playing professional football down the road. Last year You do bounce back after the Ole Miss game. You beat Arkansas. You go on a roll, and you get to the Auburn game, and you got to beat them to get to Atlanta and finish the season out the way you wanted to. The kick six was still fresh in everybody's minds, and then you go out there. You're scoring. They're scoring. It's a good old fashioned shootout. You made some mistakes in that game in the first half, but you rebounded in the second half and really had one of the best halves of your career, running the ball, throwing it deep to Amari. What was that game like? And I know Alabama's known for defense, but how much fun was it to get in a shootout like that and come out on the right end?
It was great. It was a great. I think the team. I think it was many games like LSU, Arkansas, even Auburn that we had to come together. And I think that's one thing Coach Saban and Coach Kiffin did great about, let us know that it's going to be hard times in the game, and what's going to separate us from other teams is that we stick together. And when I had through 3 interceptions that game, my teammates, instead of talking down on me, they talked big about me, and I went out there and did what I had to do.
At one point in that game, because it was clear to everybody that watched it, not that Alabama didn't have problems covering Sammy Coates, they did, but you could see Auburn couldn't cover Amari Cooper. Did you go to Kiffin, or did Kiffin come to you, or did Amari say something and just say, hey, they can't cover me, let's just sling it? Did that come up at all like that? Was it obvious to you guys on the field that night Amari Cooper was just better than their defensive backs?
No, sir. We were just still doing our same game plan. And Amari Cooper you got guys that they just gonna have their night, and that was just Amari Cooper's night, and whoever got the hot hand, every player knows giving the ball.
How good is he? How good is Amari Cooper, Blake?
He's so good that every quarterback will say that he's a blessing.
Wow, and he is certainly having a great year with the Raiders, about to set their rookie record for pass receiving yards. I think he needs 80 to set the record with 3 games to go, so he's going to get it. I want to ask you about last season. You win the SEC championship 42-13 over Missouri in dominating fashion. You're the number 1 seed in the college football playoff, the favorite to win the national championship, and then you get in there against Ohio State in a rough and tumble game, and just like that, it's over. How disappointing was that? What's that like when you go? I know you guys went into that game thinking we're the best team in the country. We're going to win this game, then we're going to win the national championship, and it ends like that. How tough was that, Blake?
That was tough. I mean, it was. I think the toughest part about it was knowing that at any time that this can be my last snap and wearing the Crimson jersey. I mean, I have nothing but great memories wearing the Crimson jersey. I mean, I won 2 national championships. No telling how many SECs I won, great memories. And I think when we lost, we knew that we were the better team, and we just didn't do what we were supposed to do. And I think it was just a bad thing. I mean, all the guys, we still call each other up, or even when we meet up with each other in Tuscaloosa, we still talked about the game and wish how we could have won a national championship. But I think the leaders on that team had opened up a path for the young guys to realize this is what you got to do, for you to win a national championship. Because we had guys like A.J. McCarron, Dusty Hightower, Mark Barron, Mark Ingram, Trent Richardson, that showed these guys that had graduated this past year. I mean, in my class, when we was younger, in 2010, when we first came in, them guys opened the road for us, and that was the main thing we were trying to do for them.
So you think that there was some carryover from that loss, extra motivation that this year's team used to help them get to where they are this year?
Yes, sir.
Wow, that's good stuff. Much like, as you said, you had carried it over from some previous seasons. Let's talk about this year's team. And I want to start with Derrick Henry, because you played with him. You knew physically that he's a beast, but I don't know that any of us thought he would have this kind of year. I mean, this amazing season, breaking records, winning the Heisman Trophy. Did you have any inkling when you played with him, Blake, that he is this good?
Oh, yes, sir. I knew he was all the way to the point when we played Oklahoma, A.J. McCarron's last year in the Sugar Bowl.
Yep.
his performance that game, I was like, man, this kid can do something special. You know, and the way he works, I just love the way that man works, man. He works so hard, and he wants to be the best. You know, he wants great things for his family, and he wants great things for his teammates, too. And I think that's what makes him so great.
You know what's interesting? A lot of people probably don't realize this because you were redshirted in 2010. You were part of the program when Mark Ingram won the Heisman. Then you played with Derrick Henry. So, in essence, you were on the team with both of Alabama's 2 Heisman Trophy winners. That's pretty neat.
Yes, sir.
And I bet you a lot of people don't think about you being here in 2010 when Ingram won it. All right, what about this team, Blake? They're in the same exact position that you guys were in last year, except they're a number 2 seed instead of a number 1 seed. Do you think this team is going to finish it off and win the national championship?
Without no doubt. I mean, if you look at it, you got Coach Saban. You got a great defense. You got a great offensive coordinator. And you got a bunch of guys that had this experience last year, you know, and was willing to cut. And they know what to do when they get to Dallas when it's time to play. They know the preparation they have to do. They know the rest they have to get. And they know they got to watch film. These guys are hungry, and they really want to be the best. And they want to leave this year with the national championship because they didn't like the film they had last year.
Before I let you go, I know you're a busy young man, but your teammate from last year, Jake Coker, much in the same position that you were in last year. He takes over as a starter in his final season of eligibility at Alabama. In fact, did not start the Ole Miss game. They went with Bateman, but bounced back and has led this team to an SEC championship. I know you've watched him closely. Your thoughts on the way that Jake Coker has performed this year for Alabama?
I think that's about Jake. There's a lot I can say about the young man right there. It's just that the things that he has done this season to where he didn't start against Ole Miss, to where a lot of people spoke so bad about him, for him to overcome adversity the way he did and lead this team to where they have came today. You know, I think that says a lot about that man. He could have crawled up on the rock and just said, forget the season and didn't do nothing. But he he took his mistakes and turned into his positives. And I think that's a great thing about him. And, you know, he was one of my teammates last year. And everybody knows about how the quarterback competition ended, but he was still a great teammate. When we scored, he was one of the first people to congratulate everybody when we came out the field. He was in the meeting room still studying hard, still trying to learn the offense, still asking Coach Kiffin questions. And everything he's doing this year, man, he worked so hard last year. That's why he's doing it.
Great stuff, Blake. Appreciate your insight. I know Bama fans are always going to have a special place in their hearts for the performance and the job that you did in 2014. Good luck to you getting back on a roster in either the CFL or the NFL, and we'll talk to you again soon down the road. Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.